Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bridges. Buckner. Coleman. Cook. Corum. Danielson. Donovan. Finberg. Fields. Gardner. Janal. Gonzalez. Hanson. Heisey. Holbert. Hawkes Lewis. Kirkmeyer. Colker. Lee. Liston. Lundeen. Marino. Pedersen. Priola. Rankin. Rodriguez. Scott.
Excused.
Simpson. Smallwood. Sonnenberg. Story. Winter. Woodward. Zenzinger. Mr. President.
Here. The morning roll call is 34 present, 0 absent, 1 excused. We have a quorum. Would the good senator from Longmont please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Mr. President. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the reading of the journal for Wednesday, April 14th, 2021 be dispensed with and that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
April 15th, correctly printed Senate Bill 245, correctly re-enrolled Senate Bill 72-173, correctly re-revised House Bill 1018, correctly enrolled Senate Bills 59, 66, 75, and 130.
Committee reports.
April 14th, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1165 be amended as follows. So amended, be referred to the committee of the whole in favor of recommendation. Recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1107 be referred to the committee of the whole in favor of recommendation. Recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1136 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. April 14th, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 33 be amended as follows. So amended, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. April 14th, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1044 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. April 14th, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1218 be referred to the Committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. Recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 187 be postponed indefinitely. April 14th, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1156 be referred to the Committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. Recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1153 be referred to the Committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. Recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Mr. President, the Committee on Finance has had on consideration had the hearing on the following appointments. Recommends appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Financial Services Board for a term expiring July 1st, 2021. Mickey Freeman of Golden, Colorado, serves as a member of the public with expertise in finance and as an unaffiliated occasion by the resignation of H. Merritt Kinsey of Grand Junction, Colorado, appointed. April 14th, Mr. President, the Committee on Finance has had on consideration has a hearing on the following appointments. Recommends appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the public employee retirement benefit plans for a term expiring July 10th, 2024. Taylor Colton McLemore of Denver, Colorado, serves as a representative with experience and competence in investment management and finance, banking, economics, accounting, pension administration, or actuarial analysis, and as unaffiliated occasioned by the resignation of James Charles Colano of Denver, Colorado, appointed. April 14th, Committee on Education. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following Senate Bill 232 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. April 14th, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following House Bill 1157 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following House Bill 1155 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following House Bill 1013 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. April 14th, Mr. President, the Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology has had in consideration, has hearing the following appointments, recommends appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed member of the Securities Board. Richard Lundberg, J.D. of Littleton, Colorado, serves as an individual who is licensed by the State Supreme Court to practice law in the state of Colorado and who is conversant in securities laws appointed. April 14th, Mr. President, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology has had in consideration, has a hearing on the following appointments, recommends appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Statewide Internet Portal Authority for a term expiring July 1st, 2024, Brandy Ryder of Eagle, Colorado, to serve as a representative of local government appointed. April 14th, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration of the merits, committee recommends the following House Bill 1187 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration of the merits, committee recommends the following Senate Bill 194 be amended as follows, so amended before the Committee of Appropriations with favorable recommendation. April 14th, Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources. After consideration of the merits, committee recommends the following House Bill 1178 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 14th, Committee on Agricultural and Natural Resources. After consideration of the merits, committee recommends the following House Bill 1158 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 1st, Mr. President, the Committee on Agricultural and Natural Resources has had in consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Water Quality Control Commission, effective February 16, 2021, for terms expiring February 15, 2024. Troy Glenn Waters of Pruitt, Colorado, appointed. John Card of Boulder, Colorado, reappointed. Jason Rogers of Parker, Colorado, appointed.
General orders. Second reading of bills. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of Whole for General Orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of Whole for consideration of General Order, second reading of bills. And Senator Zenzinger will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all the bills on the General Order second reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1146 by Representatives Pico and Valdez D. and Senators Zenzinger and Woodard concerning the practice of auricular acute by a professional in connection therewith, clarifying that in order to perform auricular autotox, a person does not need to be licensed, certified, or registered as a mental health professional. House Bill 1190 by Representatives Rich and Esker and Senators Kirkmeyer and Fields concerning the definition of telemedicine for the purpose of the Colorado Medical Practice Act. House Bill 1019 by Representative Hooten and Senators Janal concerning modifications to the regulations of factory-built structures. House Bill 1204 by Representative Snyder and Senators Holbert and Janal concerning the treatment of a marijuana license owned businesses that provides employment services to a commonly controlled marijuana business as a single employing unit.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on consent calendar, perhaps about auricular acudetox? Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar and their associated committee reports, which includes House Bill 1146, House Bill 1190, along with the Health and Human Services Committee report, House Bills 1147, 1019, and 1204.
Now is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. We need to adopt the committee reports first. Are there any discussions on any of those committee reports that were mentioned by the good majority leader? Now seeing none, the motion is to adopt the committee reports of the bills. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Okay, seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on consent calendar. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the body to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report has had under consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1146, 1190 as amended, 1147, 1219, and 1204. Passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. House Bill 1146, House Bill 1190 as amended, House Bill 1147, House Bill 1019, House Bill 1204, passed on second reading, ordered, revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General order, second reading of bills. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the committee of the whole for consideration of general order second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself to the committee of the whole for consideration general order second reading of bills, and Senator Zenzinger will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the coat rule is relaxed. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know this is going to be shocking, but I move Senate Bill 61 and Senate Bill 116 lay over until tomorrow, April 16th.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 61 and Senate Bill 116. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 61 and 116 will be laid over until tomorrow. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1048?
House Bill 1048 by Representative Valdez and Senator Rodriguez concerning a requirement that retail establishments accept United States currency for purchase.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1048 and the committee report.
To the report.
Yes, in the committee, we added an amendment to allow for locations that cannot do cash, that they can have a machine that will not provide a charge that they could put cash in and get money put on a card, so they can use that at a location.
Is there any discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the bill, there is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L005?
Amendment L005 to House Bill
Senator
1048.
Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. L005 is a technical cleanup amendment to the amendment we did in committee, just to clarify some wording on the cash machines and the processes for the charges. So more technical than anything else.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Amendment L005. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. There is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L006?
Amendment L006 to House Bill 1048.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L006.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the committee, there was some discussion among some of the members about the $500 charge being too much. So out of out of concession, I lowered the $500 to $250 cash or credit.
Is there any discussion on Amendment L006? Seeing none, the motion before the body, he did. The motion before the body is the adoption of Amendment L006. All of those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1048 as amended with a favorable recommendation.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1048? Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I was expecting impassioned pleas as to why we should vote for this on one side and maybe not on the other. But let me tell you, without my glasses on, why I am going to vote for this. Whenever I do happen to have green folding money in my wallet, every piece of it says, oh man, I wish I had this note is legal tender for all, read this for me, will you, sir?
This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private.
Thank you. It is legal tender for all notes, public and private. It is until it's not. So I expect to be able to use this to purchase anything in any retail store that I walk into. Thank you.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also noticed I think you have a straight on that bill.
Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to give you an idea why I think it's appropriate to vote no on this bill. This bill is an attack on small business. If you are a small business owner, it should be up to you how you want to take payment. For some, they may want chicken or eggs or credit cards or what have you. But in some instances, it may not be appropriate for a vendor to be able to take cash. Let's think back to this past April and May. In fact, it was illegal. Let me take that back. The CDC declared that cash was a very likely carrier of the virus. There were many businesses who said, we're not going to take cash. Please use credit when you come into the store. Those retailers under this bill would become criminals and now would face a $250 fine just for making that decision. Some of the other folks that I talked to, for example, delivery drivers who bring products to people's houses. I talked to a DoorDash driver yesterday who said that they don't carry cash. So if you plan to, those retailers who are now subject to this law, if it passes, would become criminals if they decide to use Uber or Uber Eats or something like that to deliver their product. So I was a no in committee and will remain a no because I think it's an attack on small businesses' ability to decide how they want to accept payment.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I serve on the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee. We heard this bill from our good chairman, and I know his heart's in the right place. And I'm one that I'm old-fashioned. I like to use cash. I don't use the credit card as much as some people today. In fact, some people don't even know what cash is. But I was brought up that cash is king. And I initially voted for the bill because, like I say, I can appreciate having cash, but then I started getting angst, and I appreciate the good senator from Denver offering an amendment to reduce the fine from $500 to $250. But I just felt that the fine is still too great, and some little businessman who tells a customer, he goes, look, I'm not going to take the cash. Suddenly he's in court, be it court or small claims court. He's defending himself, and under this bill, he gets socked with $250. That might wipe out his profits for a week or more. So I have changed my mind after having voted yes originally. I am now urging a no vote on House Bill 1048. Appreciate it.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I was a quiet no in committee. I view this bill as, although I'll second the good senator from El Paso's comments, I believe this bill comes from a good heart for the sponsor, but it is an unfunded mandate on business. I think some consideration should be given, maybe here on seconds or even in the House, to offering a tax credit to comply with this. But a question I do have is, does this, and it's not clear in the bill, does this apply to public schools? I know through having numerous children and dealing with setting up the online app to pay for their lunch, that I don't think it's common practice now to accept wadded up dollar bills for lunch in public schools. And I think that K-12, if they weighed in on this and realized that that might be a problem for them, might consider it an unfunded mandate as well.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1048. All of those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and 1048 is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1169?
House Bill 1169 by Representatives Van Bieber and Ortiz and Senators Pedersen and Danielson concerning the prohibition of discrimination against a potential organ transplant recipient based solely on the person's disability.
Senator Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1169.
To the bill?
What this bill does is it ensures that it will prohibit the discrimination against a organ donation for somebody with a disability. I didn't realize, unfortunately, what people with a disability go through even when it comes to trying to get an organ transplant. I want to thank Representative Ortiz for bringing this bill and asking me to join, as well as Senator Danielson, and I ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1169. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and House Bill 1169 is adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report has had under consideration the following task bills being the second reading thereof makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1048 as amended, House Bills 1169, passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 61, Senate Bill 116 laid over until 416 and retaining their place in the calendar.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excuse, the committee of the whole report is adopted. House Bill 1048 is amended. House Bill 1169 passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 061, Senate Bill 116 laid over until 4/16/21 and retaining its place on the calendar. Consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all of the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Medical Services Board for terms expiring July 1st, 2024. Anthony Young of Denver, Colorado, serve as a resident of the 1st Congressional District of Denver, with knowledge of medical assistance programs reappointed. Christina Mulkey of Denver, Colorado, serve as a resident of the 7th Congressional District, a Republican with knowledge of medical assistance programs appointed. Vincent Scott of Severance, Colorado, serve as a resident of the 4th Congressional District and unaffiliated and a family member of a person with disability appointed. Morgan Honey of Centennial, Colorado, serve as a resident for the 6th Congressional District and unaffiliated with experience in caring for medically undeserved children appointed.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar, which includes members of the Medical Services Board.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the confirmations? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, all of the appointments are confirmed. Delivery to the governor.
April 14, to the governor for signature on Wednesday, April 14, 2021, 11 o'clock a.m. Senate Bills 4, 20, 84, and 145.
Announcements.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, a friend shared this with me yesterday, and I wanted to share this with you all. I needed to run some errands this morning. To ensure I arrive alive, I won't take public transit. Oscar Grant. I removed all air fresheners from the vehicle and double-checked my registration status, Dante Wright. And I ensured my license plates were visible, Lieutenant Karen Nazario. I will be careful to follow all traffic rules, Philando Castile, signal every turn, Sandra Bland, keep the radio volume low, Jordan Davis, and I won't stop at a fast food chain for a meal, Richard Brooks. I'm too afraid to pray, Reverend Clementa C. Pickney, so I just hope the car won't break down, Corey Jones. When you run errands today, be sure not to dance, Elijah McLean. Stop to play in a park, Tamir Rice. Patronize the local convenience store for snacks, Trayvon Martin, or walk around the neighborhood, Mike Brown. Once home, don't stand in your backyard, Stephen Clark, eat ice cream on the couch, Botham Jean, or play any video games, Tatiana Jefferson. I guess I'll watch a movie around 7:30 p.m. I won't leave the house to go to Walmart, John Crawford, or to the gym, Trishard Oates, or on a jog, Ahmaud Arbery. I won't even walk to see the birds, Christian Cooper. I'll just sit and remember what a blessing it is to breathe, George Floyd, and I definitely won't go to sleep, Breonna Taylor. Thank you.
Announcements. Senator Corum.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you. I ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. Yesterday, the good senator from Weld County was telling about golf. I'm sorry, maybe I better clarify. The senator from Weld County was talking about golf. And I had to step out and was unable to talk about, but you know, golf is very important, and you think of small communities that maybe golf is not there. You know, the population of Montrose is a little over 20,000, and we have 3 golf courses in that community. Very fine golf courses. Matter of fact, the one course, the Bridges, is the home course for practice for the Montrose High School golf team, who have won 3 out of the 4 state championships the last year. Came in 3rd last year, but the state champion was from Montrose. But it's a Nicholas course, design course, and on August the 5th of this year, the American Junior Golf Association is having one of their tour tournaments there, and so there will be 96 golfers from throughout the world. You PGA golfing guys, those are the guys that you'll be watching in a few years. They will be in Montrose, so it's a great opportunity to come over, visit, spend a little bit of green, and have a good time. It's a beautiful course. You know, we apologize for the view of the San Juan Mountains to the south, but they're there, so we have to deal with them. So just want to let you know that golf, you know, we used to call it cow pasture pool, but it's a pretty good sport out there right now. So welcome, come to Montrose, spend some money, come back later and visit it.
Senator Fields.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. I wasn't going to share anything until I heard my colleague talk about the state of policing right now in the United States.
Will the good senator from Arapahoe County please request a moment of personal privilege?
So, Mr. President and colleagues, I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know about you, but I can only share my state mentally as it relates to seeing what's going on across our country and maybe in our state. We maybe have not seen it on video. But as you know, my dad was a soldier. And when I saw that soldier be pulled over in full uniform, in fatigues, I've seen my dad in fatigues all my life. His hands extended from the passenger window. He's getting mixed messages. He's been told to unloose his seatbelt, yet he's been told to get out of the car. And the lieutenant says, "I'm afraid." He says, "I'm afraid." And the officer says, "You should be." His dog in the backseat of the car, his license plate is taped in the rearview mirror. I guess they couldn't see it. It was the most demeaning thing I've seen in a very long time. Then we see an officer take a pepper spray can, shake it up. Because, you know, sometimes settlements find their way in the bottom of elements. It's almost like orange juice. Sometimes you have to shake things up to make sure it gets mixed up into whatever the chemistry of what it is you're trying to consume, or in this position, to spray. This officer shakes the can up with an active military personnel, not once, not twice. You can see the tape. I saw it twice. He sprays the man in his face. What is the state of policing? I know that people will say we have good apples, but where's the tree? Where's the root? Where's the foundation? Can somebody use good judgment? So they spray him, they get him out of the car, they handcuffed him. I lost track in reference to what else they did to him. They might have had him kneel down on the ground, maybe hog-tied him, pushed him on the ground. Eventually, they let him go. He was not charged because they saw that the tags were displayed in the rearview mirror, not the rearview windshield. They just couldn't see it. But for some reason, when you're black and you're driving and doing COVID-19, it's not easy to get your tags replaced. You just can't walk in there. It might take a month or two. Why do you have to have your guns drawn for a misdemeanor because we can't see your tags? Someone that's defending our country, active guard. It's not right. It's not right. Then, the same week, we see Dante Wright, 20 years old. I had the opportunity to listen to his family at the press conference. Broke me down when she said he was one of us. We produced him, and he should not be dead. Why? We have officers during assault weapons because you have an expired tag. You didn't rob a bank. He thought maybe it was because he had air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror. We have law enforcement enforcing traffic stops as it relates to license plates when we know during COVID-19, those offices are not even open. If you have the privilege of having technology, then you can go online and they can send it to you. Or maybe you don't, because you're considered a critical worker, so you have to go stop the grocery store, or maybe you're transporting patients at a hospital. Maybe you're a bus driver, an Uber driver, and you lost track of time, and the police pulls you over, and the interaction that you have with the police, you end up dead for a misdemeanor. Because you're black. I don't see these scenarios happening to other races or ethnicities. But when you're black and you're driving and your tail light is out, or your little tag is expired, or maybe you have air freshener hanging from your tag, or maybe I might have my hang tag to park at the state capitol. What does excessive force look like? Because you have an expired license tag. We do have a policing problem in America. And we are going to be addressing it in the state of Colorado. I'm working with my colleagues in reference to issues as it relates to the last bill that was elevated. But I just want to say to law enforcement that's out there,
Senator, would the good senator from Senate District 29 like to be extended to your next 10 minutes?
yes, please.
Is there any objection from the body? Seeing none, please proceed, Senator.
Members, I don't have all the answers, but I know that collectively we do. I don't know if we need to have gun drawns just because someone's license is expired. I don't know if just because you see a black man that's taller than you, that's heavier than you, that there needs to be a symbol of threat, that there ends up being a dead body. We have to figure this out. Because we have a generation of kids. They could be black, they could be biracial, they could be white, they could be Asian. But like Dante's aunt said, her nephew meant something to her. He belonged to them. And so we should not take casually the life of somebody just because they look different. I have a friend, a colleague here who deals with conflict resolution. Really, is a gun a solution to every encounter that you have with a black person? Can you call a social worker? If they're trying to run away, where are they going to go? You have their license tags. The wife and child, or girlfriend and child in the back seat of the car. Can we use some common, where are they going to go? Can we put some, I don't know what you call it, when you're trying to run away and they have these spikes that you put in the road. Can you call for resources to stop that person from driving any further? Do we have to end up having a dead body at 20 years old? I think we can do better, and I think that we should be better. And I think it's on us to come up with the right policy and the right attitude that says that life matters, that you don't have to die in the hands of a police officer because someone was black. And it's not training. It's an attitude. And I don't even know how you train attitude. But I'm sick and tired of this. Thank you, Mr. President, for this moment of privilege.
Further announcements, members. Senator Zenzinger.
Have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you. Members, for those of you that were not here this morning when I delivered my prayer, I just wanted to reiterate that we lost a dear friend and a dedicated individual, Ann Nolman. I just want to read very quickly a quick statement by Congressman Ed Perlmutter. He says, "It is with a heavy heart that I write this note about the passing this morning of my friend and stalwart Democrat Ann Nolman. Though Anne has struggled physically over the past year, her mind was as sharp as ever. Just last week, Anne and I were chatting like we always do. She never missed a beat. We will never have another Anne, and I will always cherish our time together. She always had my back as a friend and as a chair of 7th Congressional District. It's hard to think about Jefferson County Democratic politics without Anne. He goes on in his Facebook post to talk about some of the things that she has done for him, and I'll just kind of chronicle a few of them. She was the chair of our Jefferson County Democratic Party. She was the chair of Congressional District 7. She was the chair of my House District, House District 29. She was a captain. She was a precinct committee person. She was a volunteer. She was a really dedicated individual to what she believed in. And boy, was she outspoken. You never wanted to get into an argument with Anne because she would win and she'd make it very uncomfortable for you. She was a really, really impressive lady who was wicked smart, and she was my neighbor, and she was a mentor and a friend. And I just would like to take a few moments just to ask for some time to think about her and her dedication and her service.
The Senate will observe a moment of silence and ring the Senate chimes.
Thank you.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We do have a couple of bills to read across. You don't need to be here on the floor for that. Mr. President, I move the Senate recess until 12 noon today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted. The Senate will stand in recess until 1200 hours today.